story she greeted the billionaire boss's deaf mom. Her sign language left everyone stunned. The grand lobby of Hamilton Enterprises gleamed with polished marble floors and towering glass windows. The company was known not just for its massive wealth, but also for its intimidating reputation. New employees often whispered that working under Ethan Hamilton, the billionaire CEO, was like trying to climb a mountain with bare hands, rewarding if you succeeded, but ruthless if you slipped. Amelia Carter had never seen herself as someone who would one day walk through those doors. She came from a small town, raised by a single mother who worked as a nurse and taught her the value of kindness, humility, and determination. For Amelia, getting the position of junior executive assistant at Hamilton Enterprises was nothing short of a miracle. She wasn't the richest, the most connected, or even the most confident, but she had worked harder than most, juggling part-time jobs through college and always putting people before pride. On her very first week, Amelia heard whispers that Mr. Hamilton's mother, Margaret Hamilton, would be visiting the company headquarters. Margaret was a strong woman who had built the foundation of the empire long before her son took the reins. But what many didn't know was that Margaret was deaf. Few had ever seen her in public, and fewer still had spoken to her in a way she could truly understand. Amelia knew sign language. It wasn't something she had learned for work. It was something she had learned for love. When she was younger, her best friend Lily had been born deaf. To make her feel included, Amelia taught herself sign language from books, videos, and hours of patient practice with Lily. Over time, signing became second nature to her. The day Margaret Hamilton entered the building, the atmosphere shifted. Everyone straightened their backs, their voices hushed. Ethan Hamilton walked beside his mother, tall, cold, and commanding as always. His sharp suit reflected his status, but his expression reflected something else: distance. Employees bowed their heads in respect, murmuring polite greetings. But Margaret's eyes moved slowly across the room, searching for something more than empty words she could not hear. She had lived her life watching lips move, reading expressions, yet rarely had she been greeted in her own language. Then it happened. Amelia, standing near the front desk, took a nervous step forward. Her heart pounded in her chest, her palms damp with sweat. She wasn't supposed to approach. She wasn't senior enough, but something inside her told her this was her moment, not to impress, but to connect. She raised her hands gently, carefully, and signed. "Welcome, Mrs. Hamilton. It is an honor to meet you." The lobby froze. Every sound seemed to vanish. Dozens of eyes turned toward her, stunned. Ethan's sharp gaze locked on her with surprise, his jaw tightening as if unsure what to make of the scene. But Margaret's reaction said it all. Her stern expression melted. Her eyes widened with disbelief, then softened with warmth. Slowly, a smile spread across her face, the kind of smile that reached her soul. She lifted her hands and signed back. "Thank you, my dear. No one has ever greeted me like this before." Gasps rippled through the employees. Ethan's stoic mask cracked for the first time as he looked between his mother and Amelia, clearly shaken. That simple moment of kindness, an act that no one else had thought to attempt, would change everything from that day forward. Amelia's presence was noticed. Margaret Hamilton began visiting more often, and each time, she sought Amelia out. They would talk in sign language, laughing like old friends while others watched in awe. Amelia never treated Margaret like a symbol of power. She treated her like a person who deserved respect in her own language. But this unexpected bond created challenges. Some colleagues grew jealous, whispering that Amelia was trying to climb the ranks by befriending the boss's mother. Rumors spread like wildfire, that she was manipulative, that she had planned it all. Amelia endured the whispers, but what hurt the most was the cold distance of Ethan himself. Instead of appreciating her efforts, Ethan grew suspicious. He was a man who trusted very few, and he couldn't believe anyone would show his mother kindness without expecting something in return. One evening, after a long board meeting, he confronted Amelia directly. Why are you doing this? He demanded, his voice low but sharp. Amelia looked up, startled. Doing what, sir? You know what I mean. My mother, the signing, the attention. Do you think this will get you promoted? Is this your strategy? His words stung, but Amelia stood her ground. Her voice trembled, but her eyes held steady. I didn't do it for you. I did it for her. She deserves to be seen, to be heard, in her own way. If you think kindness has an agenda, maybe you've forgotten what it looks like. Ethan was silenced. No one had ever spoken to him like that. Still, he remained distant. Amelia carried on with her work, but the tension lingered. Weeks later, a crisis struck. The company faced a scandal from a failed investment overseas. Reporters swarmed, shareholders panicked, and the boardroom became a battlefield. Ethan carried the weight of the empire on his shoulders, working day and night with little sleep. And in the midst of it all, his mother fell ill. Margaret was rushed to the hospital. Ethan visited her, but even as he sat by her bedside, he struggled to communicate, to express what he truly felt. He loved her deeply, but he had never learned her world, the language of her silence. That night, Amelia arrived at the hospital with permission from the staff. She found Margaret awake, anxious, and Ethan sitting helplessly by her side. Without a word, Amelia sat down and began signing softly to Margaret, telling her she was strong, that everything would be all right, that she was loved. Margaret's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of comfort. She reached for Ethan's hand, and with Amelia guiding, she signed something simple yet powerful. I am proud of you, my son. Ethan's composure broke. For the first time in years, tears escaped his eyes. He looked at his mother, then at Amelia, and realized what he had been too blind to see. Amelia had given his mother a voice, something he himself had failed to do. From that day, everything changed. Ethan's attitude toward Amelia softened. He apologized, sincerely, for doubting her. He asked her to teach him sign language, humbling himself in a way no one had ever witnessed. Together, they spent evenings learning, laughing, stumbling through gestures until slowly, Ethan began to communicate with his mother on his own. The bond between Ethan and Margaret grew stronger than ever, and it was all because one woman had dared to step forward with kindness. And as for Amelia, her career flourished, yes, but more importantly, she became a symbol within the company of what true connection meant. She proved that success wasn't just built on power or wealth, but on empathy, courage, and the willingness to see people for who they are. By the end, Margaret often said that Amelia hadn't just greeted her that day, she had awakened something in everyone who witnessed it. And Ethan, the billionaire boss who once lived in walls of pride and mistrust, would often tell others quietly, "She didn't just change my mother's world. She changed mine too." True kindness doesn't need an agenda. When you choose to see people, not their status, not their power, not their limitations, you don't just touch one life. You inspire everyone around you.